Like you mentioned there, it is the worst price point, isn't it? Because if you said $2,000, well, that's easier because you let's advise you to go and get a fit in, or at least get a set that's, going to last for a little bit longer.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, let's do this.
Again, so it is from me, but it's not from me. So at the weekend, one of my good friends, Mike, sent me a text, and I'm going to read it out because it's something we've just touched on before, but because it was a good mate who I wanted to kind of give a good answer to, it really actually got me thinking, and I think, you could possibly help with this as well. So basically, he said, out of the blue, how you doing? Need some advice. Okay. So I went, I'm all good.
And give some context. Is this a mate from school?
So I went to university with Mike. He's not a golfer. He works in London. He's got a good job. He's 28, 29. So he wants to get into golf. That's where it's going. So he said, I'm going to ask my mum for some clubs for my next birthday, which I think is next month. Literally just a starter set, but no idea what I should be getting, whether I need to be measured up or get a certain size, etc. I'm a complete novice, which obviously I kind of knew all of that anyway. Well, I didn't know he was getting some clubs, but knew he was obviously never played golf. He said, we'll also look at getting some lessons when, things open up, etc. What the hell do I do, right? So I then said, okay, my first question would be your budget. Because you've got to, if he says 100 quid or he says 20 grand, it's, So he said, I'd say up to about £500.
Okay.
So something to get started with. So it was almost the worst price I could hear that. Because 200 quid, I know where I'm pointing him. 1,500 quid, I know where I'm pointing him. 500 quid's a good amount of money, but it's a hard one.
It is.
So I had a quick look round and I found a full set of Rife package set on American Golf. 500 quid, right? Okay. 499. They look all right.
Yeah.
Right-handed. They're no custom fitting as far as I know. Now, I know, joking aside, I've had some pros and cons of custom fitting, but Mike's he's about 6'2", so he's not like a giant, but we might find the standard length a bit short. And also, I've always found that package sets are quite short, weirdly. Yeah. And I might say regular, they're often very flexible and soft. So I looked at that and I thought, well, it ticks a box in the sense that he would have everything. He'd have bag, putter, wedges, everything. It's brand new. No one's ever touched it. You can take the wrappers off, that lovely experience. And Rife, as we know, was a great brand for putters years ago. I think the package sets they're all right, but they're not going to be amazing. So I sent him that, but said the downside is they're not custom fit. It's just going to be stock length. They're not going to be the best quality, etc. But then I said, but, if you're happy to get second hand, I could point you over to Golf Bin. I could almost build you a set I think would be really good for you. And I think he was open to that. But then the downside, I understand, is that although he might get a Ping G15 set of irons, to him who's a non-golfer, they're going to be old, they're going to be a bit battered, they're going to be dirty.
Yeah.
I know they're great, but he's not got that experience. So then I showed him, last thing before I want to hear your advice, I showed him the Callaway Edge set.
Yeah.
Sold out in steel.
Like a cult following them, haven't they now?
Exactly. You can get them on Costco website with graphite shafts, like $530. But again, he's quite tall and quite strong. I thought probably the steel ones are going to be better for him, which are sold out. And also, there's no bag. Where does he turn? Where do these golf? And a lot of listeners might not need this advice because they themselves probably have decent gear. But if you've got friends, exactly. So what do we do, Rick?
Yeah, it is. And like you mentioned there, it is the worst price point, isn't it? Because if you said $2,000, well, that's easier because you let's advise you to go and get a fit in, or at least get a set that's going to last for a little bit longer. I think for £500 it is very challenging, and you probably do need to go into it with the mindset that you're probably going to get a set that's only going to last you a year. And what I mean by that, it's not the quality of the set that's only going to last you a year. It's the fact that you're going to have a set and then you'll learn your craft within that year. You might have lessons with them. You might play your first couple of rounds of golf with them, whatever it may be. And then you'll have a better idea. Because I feel like when you look at a sport from the outside, you know nothing about it, like zero. As soon as you step foot into that sport, though, you learn things so quickly. So it wouldn't surprise me if Mike, in about 3 or 4 months, when he get going, he'll know loads of things because there's so much information out there. And he'll know what brands to look out for. He'll know bloody Bryson DeChambeau's using a 4-year-old driver. He'll know all these things. But it's like, say, it's that first step in. So I think as long as you go in that idea that, okay, you just need a set that's going to get you going. For me, yes, secondhand is phenomenal. And I think this is where a service needs to be put in place. Okay? So I'm kind of giving an answer here an answer here, but might not be an actual solution just yet. Why is there not a service that helps golfers like this.
Mm.
So let's say Golf Bidder, like, I mean, I don't know if they do. I don't think they do. Imagine if you could actually ring them up and say, this is my budget, this is what I need, and they can almost put a set together for you. Because where else do you go? Like,
it's so hard. And like you said, that's what I was saying before about the budget, because it sounds silly. If you had a lot less money, you say you had 300 quid or 200 quid, I'd just point them in that direction of a package set that is a phase or whatever. No disrespect to those clubs.
'cause that's what you can get.
It gives you everything. Go out, but 500 quid's a good amount of money. It's just hard to. I know, and like I said as well, there's something. I know a lot of golfers who like the game, know what the game, appreciate secondhand stuff, and as do we. But there's something, for your birthday, it's nice to have something that's never been touched, isn't it?
And that's the thing. Imagine being bought, and no disrespect to any, like, again, you step into a new sport, and you are getting a second-hand whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel quite as special, does it? And like I say, I understand people do that, and that's a great way of starting. I wish I had a full answer for you.
It's hard, isn't it? That's why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I wish there was a way of just being able to say. I mean, let's just for a minute go back in time and go back into my kind of professional days. What I'd probably say to start things off is maybe don't jump straight into clubs, but maybe jump into a lesson to start things off. So let's say Michael has £500 budget. Okay, that's all right. Well, why not? Let's start off with £100 and go and have some lessons first.
Yeah.
And typically lessons, you can use the golf clubs there. You feel like you're getting something new, you're getting some experience, and then also lean on the professionals' advice there, because they'll know your game just a little bit better than somebody who doesn't know your game at all. So that at least they can point you in somewhat of a direction. The Callaway Edge set's probably the one though, if you can get hold of them.
That's what I said. So have a look on Costco, etc. The Callaway Edge one, because we know the putter is basically a standard Odyssey. The irons are great. The driver wasn't that bad. It wasn't far off a real Callaway driver. Well, not real, but.
Well, then here's the last point. Then, should more brands come out with a set like that?
A 500 quid set.
When I own TaylorMade,
yes,
that's what I could do. Yeah. That could be my first move. In fact, that could be the whole shift of the company.
Yeah, because the thing is, I think what I sometimes have advised people to do before is buy a package set, get into it, and then if you love golf and you want to knit a new putter, then slowly replace the putter. Replace the wedges, replace the driver. But then the downside in this day and age now is stuff is so expensive. So if you buy a package set for 500 quid and then 6 months later want a new putter, a run of the mill Odyssey is like 170 now, isn't it, or something? So you're paying another third, essentially, if not more, of your cost of your first set to get a new putter. So it's hard.
You can get the set on eBay.
The Callaway Costco set. Could be a way to go then. Bit of a conundrum that, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no perfect answer to it, which is annoying. There isn't.
Do you want a couple of Facebook questions?